A bestseller written decades ago. One of my favorite books. I've listened to the audio book several times, I think at least twice, but probably more than that, maybe three times. And now I'm reading the paperback version, and look at this. So many places, yeah, to quote from. So, yeah, this is just that I'm going to quote and then share my own ideas and bring um, into this live also my experience with some of those concepts. I think I'll write them. I just want to follow copyright. I'm not allowed to read, the whole book, but I'd love to. I'd love to read the whole thing and then come up with commentaries, etc. Um, yeah. Okay. So this one I already did it. Let's take this other one. Yeah, the sense. So Dagny Taggart, she is the vice president of Taggart Transcontinental, a railroad company, and here they are on the train, and this is the fastest train they've ever had, and it's working with a new type of metal instead of steel. Another entrepreneur and businessman created a new type of metal, so they are testing this metal. So um, she looked ahead at the haze that melted rail and distance, a haze that could rip apart at any moment to some shape of disaster. She wondered why she felt safer than she had ever felt in a car behind the engine. Safer here, where it seemed as if, should an obstacle rise, her breast and the glass shield would be first to smash against it. She smiled, grasping the answer. It was the security of being first, with full sight and full knowledge of one's course, not the blind sense of being pulled into the unknown by some unknown power ahead. It was the greatest sensation of existence, not to trust, but to know. Hi, Kev. Hello, hello, Kev and Eliza. Nice to see you guys. We are reading Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. I love this passage. Not to trust, but to know. That's, you know, this is why I call myself an objectivist, because knowledge is way more preferable than belief or trust. Thank you for the like, whoever that was. I encourage others to also share likes and say hi. And you can, by the way, tell me where you guys are from. Where are you joining me from? The US, Armenia, elsewhere? So, actually, we had an interesting conversation with a friend just before the live. We spoke of jumping with parachutes. Oh, Eliza is from Mexico. Cool. Okay. And what he told me, he is from the Republic of Belarus. He jumped with a parachute in Belarus, but it's not an EU country, it's not the US, so the safety issues are not considered that much. And Kev is from Guatemala. Wow, okay. Nice to see you guys. Do you know anything about objectivism? Have you read Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged? Let me know in the comments. And he had a very bad experience of jumping with parachute. He says, first of all, the airplane was very bad, and when they were going up, it was shaking badly, and there was a smell of kerosene. And when he jumped, he landed too close to the forest, and another person that jumped with him has broken a leg. So what my comment was that it's because there was not enough reason and good judgment in that. Our broader conversation was about the fact that he likes emotions, and I was explaining to him that in objectivism, reason is above emotions. And I was saying that it doesn't mean that you have to oppress your emotions. And thank you for the 3 likes, the 3 thumbs up, guys. High five to y'all. I encourage others to do the same. Oh, Kev hasn't read that. Okay. So the same action, you can do it with care, with reason, with careful planning, so that it's much safer for you, so that it's much more fulfilling. You achieve that through um, declaring reason to be your only absolute, as we say in objectivism, meaning you always have to think, calculate, consider the context. You shouldn't only live on emotions, trust, blind faith. Yeah. So fortunately, nothing happened to him, but the other guy, he has broken a leg, and he says he could have actually suffered a lot because he was very close to the trees because of miscalculation. So usually, this is what happens when people are not rational enough. They are not careful. They do not value human life and well-being. And Dagny, she feels this feeling um, because she is first, but she also knows, like she knows how that metal works. She has been in the railroad for ages, so she knows how her trains work. So she has this emotion, but she has this emotion based on knowledge, based on experience and good judgment, not simply on trust. Okay, so yeah, I love this. Not to trust, but to know. Beautiful. Very objectivist, I would say. And when I say objectivist, that's a philosophy. The philosophy of objectivism. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that. They think when we say objectivist, we mean objective. And then they're like, based on what value or standard or judgment. Okay. And I love this next passage as well. It was a strange foreshortening between sight and touch, she thought, between wish and fulfillment, between the words clicked sharply in her mind. Between dash, the words clicked sharply in her mind after a startled stop. Again, she continues, between spirit and body. First the vision, then the physical shape to express it. First the thought, then the purposeful motion down the straight line of a single track to a chosen goal. Could one have any meaning without the other? Wasn't it evil to wish without moving or to move without aim? Whose malevolence was it that crept through the world, struggling to break the two apart and set them against each other? Beautiful, beautiful. So, first of all, a lot of people who haven't read Ayn Rand um, think that Ayn Rand or accuse her of being only purely materialist. And when they use the word materialist, they mean that concepts such as spirit, mind are denied. But it's not the case. Even Ayn Rand herself, yes, she is using those concepts. So she says between spirit and body, yeah? Of course, in objectivism, when we speak of spirit, we mean a mental faculty, but she also uses words such as spirit, soul. So it's not the Christian type of thing, yeah? But still, she doesn't deny those things. Eliza says that's a really big book. You must be very smart. Well, yeah, Eliza, the book is huge, and it takes a long time to read, but it's so rich, so beautiful. Some people think that Ayn Rand is a graphomaniac, meaning she loves to write. She could have said one idea through one sentence, but she dedicates pages to the same concept. That's an accusation I heard against her, but I think she does a fantastic job of explaining her own philosophy in so many ways. And that's the valuable thing about it. Because, sometimes we have to read the same thing over and over to um, get a more profound, a deeper understanding of the thing that we're reading. Did it ever happen to you? Like you're watching a movie or a series and you're watching it again, second or third or fourth time, then you're like, oh, I have never noticed this passage before. Like you're watching the same movie or series or whatever, or you're reading the same book and you're like, wow, was this in this piece of art? Really? How have I missed it before, right? So this is why I love her book and her work, because she explains very complex ideas in many different ways to reach out to as many people as possible. So and this I love it. First the vision, then the physical shape to express it. Let me just open my window a bit further. Yeah. So, because we have philosophies that say, no, mind and reason, it's not important, you have to just believe, or you have to just feel, or there is determinism, yeah, which says you don't even have a free will, everything is determined for you, everything is determined by genes, by the actions of others, and they present cause and effect as something that means you have no choice over anything. Things were done, and as a result, you just go through consequences, and that's, to me, that's very disempowering. That's also, I would call it, in some ways, sort of dishonest. Like, I choose whether to have breakfast or not. I choose what to eat. Like, choice in an ordinary meaning is something that we cannot live without. We always choose. So when, people say, no, you don't choose, or when they say, well, everything is chosen for you by your subconscious, by your genes, by your environment, your society, etc., it's like they want to sort of tell you, don't use your reason, don't analyze, don't think, don't choose. Let us do the choosing, or let us tell you how it is done instead of you doing the actual stuff. So I find it very dishonest, because we go through the process, the actions of choosing every day. And to say that no, choice is not important or it doesn't exist, I think it's kind of dishonest or misleading. And choice is important. It is also important to choose reasonably. Yeah, to always analyze. Like my breakfast, it's always oatmeal. Why did I make this habit of starting my day with oatmeal? Because I know it's good for my health. A lot of people around me don't start their mornings with oatmeal, you know? So already there is this contrast. Like, if everything is determined by the environment, why that same environment doesn't shape everyone in the same way, you know? Um, so yeah, reason. I use my reason. I know that eating is healthy eating is important, and I just go through it, eating healthily. So, in other words, in the words of Ayn Rand, first the thought, then the purposeful motion to achieve the chosen goal. Yeah, this is how I function. I think, like, should I do this or that? Starting this live was a choice. I was thinking, should I go live on YouTube or not? Yeah. And if it's just, determined, I have two roommates. Why aren't they live on YouTube on their own? you know? Okay, that's another passage. Now let's move on to the third passage. Okay. Yeah, this one is about um, sensations and feelings that we have when we fall in love or when we have passion, desire. The book is so rich, so many layers. It's about psychology, it's about economy, it's about philosophy. So rich. So this passage, and a lot of people who don't read her don't understand how multi-dimensional and multi-layered her work is. So this passage, okay, I'll read it. She turned deliberately and glanced back. He was looking at her. He did not turn away, but held her glance coldly and with full intention. She smiled defiantly, not letting herself know the full meaning of her smile, knowing only that it was the sharpest blow she could strike at his inflexible face. She felt a sudden desire to see him trembling, to tear a cry out of him. She turned her head away, slowly, feeling a reckless amusement, wondering why she found it difficult to breathe. So they are still in the train. This is the other guy, Reardon, Henry Reardon, who created this new type of metal. So they have this strong desire for each other. They are kind of in love, but they do not admit it. And like the difficulty to breathe, the desire to see someone tremble, like tremble, it doesn't have to be about, sadism or punishment. Yeah, it can be, because of pleasure. So I love this because we go through this, like when, especially as teenagers, but it can happen at any age. Yeah, when you want to compliment someone, when you find someone very sexy, and you instead of fear, you choose action. Yeah, you want to say something to that person, and you have all those, emotions, all those sensations. Ayn Rand describes them very honestly. Like she looks at them and she describes them. And in the book, you have a lot of passages about love, passion, sexual desire, very open, very direct, and described in very interesting words. So, yeah, this passage, I chose it because of the language of Ayn Rand when she, speaks of those things. She sometimes describes them with very interesting detail. Next. Yes, I think this is from the same, passage. So several pages of, them going within the train and desiring each other. This is why some people don't like the works of Ayn Rand. But, it's up to you. If you don't like those romantic passages, for instance, you can just skip them. Yeah. I sometimes do that too. I skim through the page instead of carefully scanning or reading everything. Yeah. Depending on what the passage is about. but still it's very rich, very beautiful, a lot of layers and dimensions in the book. So, the lines of his face were pulled tight, giving it a peculiar purity, a sharp precision of form, making it clean and young. His mouth was taut, the lips faintly drawn inward, stressing the outline of its shape. Only his eyes were blurred, their lower lids swollen and raised, their glance intent with that which resembled hatred and pain. Look at that. Look at that, like the eyelids, yeah? The shape of the mouth, etc. Like, uh, it's the words that she uses and the formulations, and also like when you read it several times you already understand what's behind the scene. He wants her, but he has like the glance of the eyes intent with that which resembled hatred and pain. It's not really hatred and pain, it resembles hatred and pain, but I, as a reader who reads it for the third time or fourth time or fifth time, I know what's happening, why he has this something that resembles hatred and pain, because he's married to another woman, and his philosophy, although he and his wife don't love each other, she could be described as not necessarily a narcissist, but as a hunter who is after the human life. She thinks her husband belongs to her, and she doesn't want to give him any freedom, any acknowledgement for his achievements. And he, being a sort of a Puritan, meaning he living, through reason, being a capitalist, he thinks that he owes to his family and to his wife. So he has this well, capacity, maybe that's the word I should use, this capacity of blame, the faculty of blame. He's blaming himself for his desire for another woman, thinking that he is betraying his wife, which is in monogamous marriage kind of true. But the book is very interesting because the book also goes through those questions of marriage, what it means to be married, what loyalty is about. Are you always in debt to others? Do you have to always choose altruism as your guiding principle? Yeah. So yeah, I think there are a lot of passages about that. Probably I will just abstain for now, and once we get there, I will comment further. Whatever I am, she thought, whatever pride of person I may hold, the pride of my courage, of my work, of my mind and my freedom, that is what I offer you for the pleasure of your body. That is what I want you to use in your service, and that you want it to serve you is the greatest reward I can have. So again, those are her thoughts. Yes, they are still on the train, and those are her thoughts. So the difference between the two, like Henry, Hank is another hero by her. Henry Reardon is blaming himself. He has this moral code of altruism, and he thinks that once he is married, he has to honor his wife till the end of their days because it is his wife, so it's his reputation, also his reason, his integrity as a capitalist. When he signs a contract, a reasonable human being also, he wants to respect the terms of the contract. Yeah. So his marriage is also a contract. So he is torn by this feeling of infidelity. Even mentally, he desires another woman, and he's beating himself up. He's blaming himself for the fact that he desires another woman. She, on the other hand, well, she's not married, but he blames himself. He thinks that's lowly, and he thinks that sexual desire in itself is low, bad, mm, um, not worthy of a rational human. She, on the other hand, for her, it's one of the highest things. So again, whatever pride of person I may hold, it's about her pride, yeah, and the pride of my courage. It's about her courage, her work, her mind, and her freedom. That is what I offer you for the pleasure of your body. That is what I want you to use in your service. And that you want it to serve you is the greatest reward I can have. So she, on the other hand, she's celebrating. She is not burdened with that moral code of altruism, of religious or societal mm, duty of self-blame. Yeah. So that's the greatest difference between those two. It's the same thing, desire, but and this is so beautiful. Ayn Rand explains it so beautifully. Uh, Based on your perception, based on your worldview, it's like putting on glasses. Like if your glasses are gray, whatever you look at will seem gray to you. And if your glasses are transparent, whatever you look at, you will see the actual color of the thing. So the moral code of the philosophy of altruism, like I owe to others. Once I sign a contract, whatever happens, I have to respect that contract. That can be destructive, especially if one side does not uh, if one side, like the other party, fooled you into signing that contract. Yeah, she pretended that she was offering her love and her devotion, but in reality turns out it was not what she was offering, and it was not what she was after, just like in the case of Henry's wife, Lillian. So this is why the book is so complex, so many interesting things like that. And you cannot, when you read it for the first time, even maybe the second time, you might not be able to go through all those layers because you do not have all this knowledge about the complexity of the characters, Okay, let's continue. Another passage. Let's take this one. Oh, I don't know, but people do things in the world. I saw pictures of New York and I thought, she pointed at the giant buildings beyond the streaks of rain on the cab window. I thought somebody built those buildings. He didn't just sit and whine that the kitchen was filthy and the roof leaking and the plumbing clogged and it's a goddamn world and Mr. Taggart. She jerked and her head a shudder and looked straight at him. We were stinking poor and not giving a damn about it. That's what I couldn't take. That they didn't really give a damn. Not enough to lift a finger. Not enough to empty the garbage pail. And the woman next door saying it was my duty to help them, saying it made no difference what became of me or of her or of any of us, because what could anybody do anyway? Yeah, again, moral code of altruism. You owe to your family, to your society, to your church. It's collectivism. Collectivism trying to crush the individual into service, into loyalty without any reason, without any questioning. It's your family member, you have to take care of them. It's your country, you have a duty. it's your church or whatever, whatever, whatever. So the collective, yeah, trying to get hold of the free individual. And we go through this theme a lot in the works of Ayn Rand. Basically, objectivism is about collectivism of any kind against the individual, against individualism. It can be right wing collectivism, like nationalism, conservatism, religiosity. It can be left wing collectivism, like Marxism, socialism, communism, but both have this common desire to uh, enslave the free individual and demand total service and submission from the individual. And both the groups have their own justifications. They name different names, like it's for the sake of family, it's for the sake of faith, of the country, blah, blah, blah. So in either case, it's for the sake of the Palestinians today, yeah, that crazy Save Palestine movement. Um, for the sake of the working class, doesn't matter. It's always about one group, and they are ready to imprison you, they are ready to cancel you, they are ready to ridicule you if you as an individual do not agree with their ideology, with their worldview. So it's different ilks of collectivism parading across the globe with the aim of destroying freedom and reason. That's how I would describe it, like right-wing collectivism, including Christian nationalism, yeah, and conservatism, and left-wing collectivism. Uh, Probably the Democrats could be, categorized in the left-wing collectivism, with their talks of um, the working class, the poor, the needy, the Palestinians, etc. So both the Republicans and the Palestinians, it's all about collectivism, and both want that power to control the individuals and to say, for the sake of X can mean Christians or women or Palestinians or working class, you individual, you the individual have to submit, you have to keep silent because it's about the killing of the children of Palestine, or it's about the Christian values, etc., etc. This girl here, she actually, her problem is that she has the free spirit, but she doesn't have the philosophical understanding. You cannot blame it. Uh, by the way, thank you to all those 4 people who gave me likes, thumbs up. I encourage others to do that, okay? But she falls victim to mm, philosophical moocher and looter, James Taggart, who is, by the way, the sister of Dagny, uh, the main hero, who is running the railroad, in fact. But her brother is just kind of sitting on her shoulders. He is abusing her mind, like a leech who drinks, the vital energy, the reason of his sister. So again, she says, I thought somebody built those buildings. He didn't just sit and whine that the kitchen was filthy and the roof leaking and the plumbing clogged. So this is beautiful. And this is, I would say, this is against determinism. When people say, well, everything is determined, you have no choice, you just go through. If that were the case, how any innovation would come? Like if everything is determined, how someone would think of building the first skyscraper? How could someone conceive of making a light bulb or making a smartphone, etc., etc.? So no innovation would follow if everything was determined. So this is my big problem. The big problem I have with determinism. It's not convincing. I'm not buying it. And if there are determinists, you are welcome to comment and tell me why are you guys determinists? How do you answer to the questions I'm asking? Okay. Yeah. And this is always the case. Like whenever you have difficulty in life, you basically have a choice. You can whine and complain that, well, I can't do anything. I'm only a human. Uh, it's just the circumstances. It's the society. I was not given a chance, etc. Or you can choose reason, rational approach, careful planning, and today we have tools like ChatGPT that can help you a lot as well, but still it's about you. Yeah. Like you can choose actions instead. Yeah. You can create several sources of income for yourself. You can choose to change your community if your community consists of only people that drag you down, that blame you, that don't support you, etc. So you always have that choice to either build the victim mindset and tell yourself, "Oh, I couldn't do anything. It's the society," or you can choose reason, action, and you can rise. You can innovate. You can create beauty uh, through technology, through science, through art, whatever. Yeah. So yeah, this girl Cheryl, she chose action. At the moment, she works at a store, a small store, and her earnings are very modest. But she chose to move away from her family, that was not doing anything, and she moved away from her town because others were like that as well. The neighbor who told her that it is her duty to take care of the problems, and including the problems of the drunkard father. So she moved away. I did the same, by the way. I immigrated into the United States. I came here and I decided to stay here because the other society is not right for me. As an LGBT activist, as a peace builder, I had like death threats, and the society, my family members were very mean to me. I was renovating a building, and my father, at one point, he told me, "Okay, you can use this building." It was a little building next to our house. And then one day he said, "No, you cannot use it anymore." So I was like, "Screw it. I'm a capitalist." So it was his property. I respected his property rights. I said, "Okay, I don't want none of this," because um, it was just written, an oral agreement. There were no documents, etc. So I was like, "Okay, it's your property. You decide whatever you want to do with that. I'll build my life from zero." Okay, that was my mindset, and that's why I didn't argue about anything. I just left. Okay. So just like Cheryl, I changed my community in general. Like I moved away from the city I lived in and also from the country, because it was not right for me. And I'm 36 years old. When I speak of this, it's several decades, at least I could say, at least approximately 2 decades of conscious life, activism, effort as an individual entrepreneur, as a non-profit employee, as an activist, who tried to bring positive change. In some ways I did, but in other ways there were circumstances that were beyond me. Okay, I think I will stop here. And yes, we have a lot. Look at this. A lot of passages I will be reading out for you guys. So subscribe to this YouTube channel, Ayn Rand Atlas Shrugged again, a beautiful bestseller she wrote decades ago. It's still very powerful. It still resonates because many of the themes are above culture, they are beyond time. You know, always we have this struggle between collectivists, people of faith. It can be religious faith, it can be philosophical faith, and people of reason. Um, yeah, super beautiful. I'm very excited, about reading this book. So see you next time. Also in the description, you can follow me on TikTok as well. Okay, sometimes I go live on TikTok also. And the benefit of TikTok is that you can join me and we can have some exchange. Yeah. Whereas on YouTube, you have to just listen to me. That's the main difference. Thank you for being with me. High five and see you next time. Bye bye.